And welcome to another action-packed, exciting hour of the Smoky Mountain Wrestling Rewatch Along Project. This is podcasting the way it used to be and the way you like it. This show is a production of the Something Else Podcasting Network, and it is episode number 149 of Smoky Mountain Wrestling from December 3rd, 1994, taped November 7th, 1994, from the Garden High School in Oakwood, Virginia. My name is Arya, and joining me, as always, is the Bryant Anderson to my Tracy Smothers. It's Trey. Trey, how the hell you doing today?
I'm terrific. How are you, Aria?
Golly gee, I'm just fantastic. I love all the great fans out here. Yeah.
Aw, shucks.
I don't know if that was your Bryant Anderson impression or not. So, uh,
I didn't know. I wasn't prepared to do a Bryant Anderson impersonation.
to I was gonna call you the Tracy Smothers, but I kind of bury Tracy a little bit later, so I didn't want you to think I was burying
Uh,
you.
well, at least I could have done the Southern accent.
There you go. Which is what makes it funny is that, you're from the South and having you do a Northern accent while I'm from the North and doing a Southern accent.
Did I do a Minnesota accent?
You can, but he's not that Minnesota-y.
He's not, I think I don't think he really I think he was born in Minnesota but probably didn't grow up there because
Yeah.
he was because Ole probably lived in Georgia or the Carolinas during that most of that period when he was growing up, right? I would
More than
assume.
likely, yeah. Um, I I sent this to you earlier, but I saw a WCW house show ad that Jerry McDevitt sent a cease and desist letter almost assuredly over because building up Barry Windham versus, and I quote, the man who stands for law and order. Like, yeah, that one didn't hold up, I bet. But one of the matches on the card was Eric Watts versus Brian Anderson. It's WCW. They don't know how to spell their own guys' names. But that's a dream match.
Yeah, it's
And
the kind of dream that Freddy Krueger shows up in.
the funny thing is, I guess not really funny, haha, but I I was remember reading an Observer. It must have been from late fall '92 because Eric is in there getting his push, and Bill did an interview where someone brought it up, and he said that if like he would be pushing Eric and Bryant Anderson, as stars. Is like okay then.
Well,
He pushed one of them as a star. It's funny because I think Bryant was there while he was there, and Bryant was not getting pushed. You know,
okay, on the scale of people who showed up in Smoky Mountain Wrestling and then disappeared from pro wrestling, like you gotta say that Brian Anderson, he's not fucking Glove.
no, no,
Like
no. He is far better than Glove,
Brian Anderson was good, and I don't know what happened. And the more I see him, I think it's a shame that he did not stick with pro wrestling.
and I guess we'll find out in a few weeks if he got hit by a bus or something, because he's only here till like the end of January.
Yeah,
Uh,
like I said, there is a timeline where Brian Anderson did battle arts or some shit in the late '90s, and that's a timeline that I wish I lived in.
well, Smoky Mountain Wrestling, December 3rd, 1994. I don't know why, and I know I'm that person. I remember some weirdly specific things. I always remember December 3rd as the day of December to Dismember. So 12 years from this day is December to Dismember.
December 4th is my dad's birthday, so
Happy
happy.
birthday to Trey's dad.
Let's see, how old would he have been in 1994? Right, a very young 42.
Oh, I'm a very old 41 right now, so that's really making me feel good. Um, all right, so let's go to intro with JR and Les, and they have some news to share with us. It'd be good if I unmuted it.
I'm Jim Ross along with Les Thatcher. Thanks very much for being with us, ladies and gentlemen. In a few moments, we're going to tell you about Christmas chaos. But what a program we have. We're going to have a new Beat the Champ television matchup today between two new competitors.
That's right. They've drawn two new names, and it's Uptown D-Lo Brown, the senior member of the Gangstas posse. He's going to take on Steve Armstrong for the TV title.
Plus, ladies and gentlemen, a very unique submission exhibition that you're going to be in the ring to kind of administer over.
Right, oversee it. Right. Brian Anderson has asked for this, and he and Tracy Smothers are going to get in there with two other wrestlers. You're going to see if, indeed, they can make somebody submit and how quick.
And ladies and gentlemen, you're going to see our main event. Chris Candido takes on Cactus Jack. And now I'd like to invite our guests in. We got Bob Armstrong here, and we got the Dirty White Boy, and of course the legendary Ron Wright. And I know you've got some big news for all of our great fans here at Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
You know, I certainly have, Jim. It's again my pleasure to announce that Christmas Chaos this year will be held in Knoxville. And for Fan Appreciation Night, all seats in the house will be $6 and $6 only. So it's a family time of year. Bring your family out. We're going to have a good time. And as you can see here, Jim, some of the matches lined up already are knockouts, believe me. The very next night in Johnson City, the same goes for there at Freedom Hall. All seats $6, Fan Appreciation Night. Now, I've asked the champion out here and his manager, Ron Wright, because the last couple of weeks I've been getting some real pressure. I've been getting pressure from California, no less, from a big-time sports agent out there. He handles several players in the NFL, and he's got a man, which he will not tell me who he is, and that's why I wanted you guys' opinion on this. But they're giving me a lot of pressure from the board of directors saying, get him in here. How can I get him in here if I don't know who he is? But there's a lot of clout behind this man. He's got a lot of money behind him. There's a lot of pressure to bring him in, but he will not come in unless he comes in just for a shot at your title. And I just want to get your feelings about this, Dirty White Boy.
Well, you know, Bob, I don't think this guy can be any bigger or any tougher than the guys that I've been going against, like Bam Bam Terry Gordy, Jake the Snake Roberts, Dick Slater, Bruiser Bedlam. So as far as I'm concerned, Ron's concerned, we'll sign an open contract, throw it on the table. Anybody who wants a shot at this right here is more than welcome.
You know, I had a feeling he'd say that because he's been a fighting champion, and I'll do my dead level best to find exactly who this man's representing and try to get back to you guys. I'll take it for the board of directors tomorrow morning. You can count on it.
Appreciate it, Bob. Thank you very much.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. And ladies and gentlemen, when we come back, we've got some shocking videotape for you. Don't go away is all I can say.
All right, so a little bit more of an involved intro than we usually get.
Yeah.
You know, I guess the only appearance of DWB during this episode. But a big show this week, D-Lo Brown, Uptown D-Lo Brown versus Steve Armstrong for the TV title. We're going to have a very unique submission exhibition with Brian Anderson and Tracy Smothers, and it is very unique, Trey.
Very unique. So I think this is D'Lo Brown's like first televised match, which is very cool. It's like I don't know if I've ever like I'm sure I've mentioned this. I fucking love D'Lo Brown. Like he's my everybody has like the OSW like your boys stable, like your mid card guys that are you have like a real fucking fondness for. D'Lo Brown is before I even knew the term, D'Lo Brown is the founding member of my boys stable.
That's great. That's great. No shame in your game there. And so then we get the other news. Oh, by the way, we're gonna also get Cactus Jack versus Chris Candido in the best match we've seen on this show, possibly ever, to be honest with you. But we'll get to that here at the end. But then we get a weird bit of news. A sports agent in California who represents a lot of top NFL athletes has somebody he wants to bring into Smoky Mountain specifically to get a shot at the title. And White Boy feels it can't be anyone tougher than somebody he's already wrestled and says bring him on. And now I know who it ends up being. Do you have any idea who this is?
No idea.
Okay. I'll be honest. The agent part, I believe the agent makes an appearance, but you can pretty much ignore it.
Okay, is the agent somebody or?
I don't remember if they're actually somebody.
Okay.
But
How did they never get fucking Rick Rubin to do like an appearance?
he probably has more important things to do.
I know, but I don't know. He could have sent in a video for something. I don't know. I don't guess
Uh,
it matters. It's like I don't know a lot about like the
mhm.
music industry or whatever,
Yep.
but Rick Rubin, the Money Mark behind Smoky Mountain Wrestling, your aces with me.
I love that you called him a mark and then are like, "You're aces with me."
Well, and no, it's I mean that with
We mean
look.
it with nothing but love.
Here's the thing, because it's a term that people use derisively, and people love to use it towards Tony Khan. And okay, if Tony Khan is a money mark, okay. Uh, Number one, so was Rick Rubin.
Exactly.
And number two, you know who else was a money mark? Ted fucking Turner.
But it's okay because Ted Turner wasn't always mentioned on WCW television, and that makes it better, I guess. Um, but I I actually forgot. I kind of feel bad. I'd forgotten that Dynamite was tonight until I saw it on the front page of the Observer. So I was like, oh yeah. Um, and so I've got that on the background. Um, but yeah, like honestly, it's like Rick Rubin's a fucking money mark. But I guess because well, I mean, I don't know what Rick Rubin's net worth is, but because he wasn't willing to divest more of it, I guess, or because TK was able to get, you know, TK's making money. I'm not doing his fucking books, but like he's making some fucking bank off, AEW television, you know.
Look,
But
I don't have like look, if you're of somebody with a lot of money and you choose to use that money to help create more professional wrestling, I have a deeply moral qualm against the existence of billionaires. But as far as billionaires go, those are the only ones whose existence I accept.
but you know something, TK, like if he was losing hundreds of millions of dollars, he would not be in fucking business. He's making some money. He may be losing some, but he's not losing a terrible amount.
Well,
Rick Rubin was in it to try to make a little bit of money and not lose a whole lot. Ted Turner, I mean, I don't know what his threshold would have eventually been, but Ted Turner, would have eventually had a line that he would have drawn at. But you know who, like in my opinion, who like when I think of the term money mark, who really is a money mark? The guy who did Wrestlicious. There was
okay.
there's exactly zero chance that Wrestlicious was gonna make money. But like he won Powerball and decided to make a women's wrestling promotion for 10 weeks.
I wonder how much money he still had after that.
I I mean, I think the most expensive person he had on the show was Jimmy Hart, so it's not,
But
I don't think he lost a tremendous amount.
look, if I won a lot of money, like I would have to try to promote one show myself.
Yes, yes. Believe me, the thought has crossed my mind. Even if I had $50,000, I'd be like, I would so promote a show. Like I wouldn't spend all 50,000, but it's like, you know what I mean? It's like it would be really cool to promote one show.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, but yeah. So it's like, who cares what people do with their fucking money? Would I like it if TK called me up and decided to give me some? Sure. But who gives a fuck, to be perfectly honest. By the way, $6 and $6 only for the Christmas Chaos shows, which I believe are on Hanukkah this year.
How much is $6 in
Modern day.
today money?
I didn't look it up, but
I
it'd be
mean,
approximately 15.
I'm gonna yeah, because it's like what
But it's about
there's
two and a half times, yeah.
two and a half times.
So I mean, I'd
Okay.
pay $15, for a Dirty White Boy versus a mystery opponent.
$6 in December 1994 as the same buying power in May 2026. Okay, I can't do May. See if I can do April. $13.35. Hey, you couldn't get a wrestling ticket for $13 fucking today.
No, not even close. All right. So up next, we're gonna get some shocking videotape footage. But before we got that, we got a recap of last week's tremendous angle with Jim Cornette and the Gangstas. Yes. Now, before I press play, I want to recap, in case you did not listen to this fine program last week. I don't know why the hell you didn't, but what happened last week was Jim Cornette asked the Gangstas if he could manage them so that they could run the Rock and Roll Express out of Smoky Mountain together. And New Jack said no. That's what happened. New Jack was a lot more colorful than that, but New Jack said no. You know,
if you for some reason are listening this week, it didn't listen last week. I believe, was that the third time that New Jack has been inducted into this Something Else Hall of Something Else?
Yes. He's a 3-time Something Else Hall of Something Else inductee.
Incredible.
And so that is all that happened last week. And also, if you know, for those who somehow have no idea what pro wrestling is and somehow stumbled across this, Jim Cornette and the Rock and Roll Express have hated each other for a decade. A decade.
As one of the bumper screens pointed out, a Jim Cornette team has fought the Rock and Roll Express every year since 1983.
Yes. And it's not just because, well, we're good competitors and we want to wrestle each other. No. So with that in mind, let's press play on the next clip. And it's a lengthy one, but I promise we'll be back when it's over. You know.
Hi again, Smoky Mountain Wrestling fans. We are here today in the offices of Smoky Mountain Wrestling. And as you can see, we have an unusual threesome flanking my sides. Wrestling manager Jim Cornette, who has something to say today, and he has requested that both Ricky and Robert of the Rock and Roll Express be present to hear what Mr. Cornette has to favor us with today. Mr. Cornette?
Yeah, first of all, you know, I've invited you here to say something important, so the least you can do is sit there and act like you're paying attention, act like you got a little sense. I don't like being here any better than you do, but the way I see it, you guys have a little bit of a problem. See, the Gangstas have already said that Christmas Chaos is your last chance at the tag team title. Now, let's go back and think about this. How have you tried to get the tag team title? You've tried this way and that way and the other way, but they got your belts. You haven't been able to get them back. They've got all the lawyers on there saying, sure, they use outside interference, sure, they use the posse, sure, they use foreign objects, but the point is, they got the belts. You haven't been able to get them back, and Christmas Chaos is going to be your last chance to get the tag team belts. So you've got a big problem, because you see, if you do not have the tag team title in Smoky Mountain Wrestling, or if you're not in the title picture, if the Gangstas move on after Christmas to greener pastures and they defend against other challengers and you guys got to sit back and be just another tag team in the bunch, then being the big international stars that you are, you're going to have to go somewhere else. You're going to have to seek out greener pastures. You're going to have to go to places where you can be in the middle of the tag team title picture, because you got to make money, because you're big stars. So you got a dilemma. If you don't do it at Christmas, brother, then it looks like you're going to have to hightail your little butts on out of Smoky Mountain Wrestling, because you're not going to get another shot at the tag team title. You got a problem.
Won't you tell us something we don't already know, Einstein?
Okay, I'll tell you something you don't know. I'll tell you how you can get the tag team title back. Because you see, I sat and I thought about this thing. Everybody saw last week, I came out, I made the Gangstas a legitimate offer, because I thought that they were talent and professional wrestling that could be taken to another level. But not only did they turn me down, and I don't like to be turned down. Yeah, you go ahead and laugh. Not only did they turn me down, but they embarrassed me. They insulted me on television in front of a bunch of people, and I don't like that, especially from the Gangstas. Now, what I'm saying to you is the reason why that you have not been able to get dominant success in Smoky Mountain Wrestling all this time has been because of my teams, because of the Heavenly Bodies. And I sat and I thought about this, and I realized that the Gangstas are the closest ones, they're the closest that anybody's been of running the Rock and Roll Express out of Smoky Mountain Wrestling. And I don't like that. You know why? Because I'm not going to be responsible for it. Because one of these days, when the Heavenly Bodies, when that injunction against them from that loser leave town is lifted, and they come back to Smoky Mountain Wrestling, if you're not here, they don't get a chance to get even. If you're run out of town, then I don't get a chance to take the credit for it. And after 12 years, that's more important to me than even I realized it was. I want the heavenly bodies to have the chance to get even. I want me to have the chance to take credit for ruining you guys. And the only way that I can do that is if you're still around and if you're the tag team champions. So I'm here to make you an offer. If you care to listen, Bright Eyes, if you care to listen, I can help you win the Smoky Mountain Tag Team title at Christmas Chaos. You ain't gonna listen? Are you gonna listen? Huh?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I can help you win the Smoky Mountain Tag Team title at Christmas Chaos.
What makes you think, Jimmy Cornette, that we need your help?
Oh, they sound just like the Bobbsey twins, don't they? It's real simple. You ain't done it before now. You haven't been able to take the tag team title back from the Gangstas, and I'll tell you why. Because you guys are too good. You're too honest. You're too moral, too upright, too forthright. You like to fight people face to face, head on 2-on-2 with the odds even. Yeah, that's what rock and roll's about, but that ain't what the Gangstas are about, and you found that out. Backstabbing, lying, cheating, ganging up, and backfighting. That's what the Gangstas are about, doing anything. Getting dirty, getting mean, getting evil, and getting nasty. That's what the Gangstas are about, and that's what I'm about. Because you know it as well, better than anybody else in professional wrestling. All the time, 12 years. Foreign objects? What have I brought in a ring? Tennis rackets, chains, chairs, ether, oxygen tanks. I've done everything but bring a Mack truck in that ring. You talk about legal maneuvering. I'm the king of that. What have my lawyers done in the past? Suspensions, bannings, orders, court orders, injunctions. I'm the king of the legal maneuver. You talk about outside interference. How many guys, how many people have I brought into the ring? Biggest stars in wrestling, the Funk Brothers out of nowhere. All these guys, I've done everything but drop them in out of helicopters. You need somebody that doesn't care how they win as long as they win. You need somebody that doesn't mind pulling dirty tricks, doesn't mind stabbing somebody in the back, doesn't mind lying and cheating and being the most conniving little son of a gun that there's ever been to get the job done, and that's me, Jim Cornette. The Gangstas humiliated me, they embarrassed me, and most of all, I don't want them to take credit for running my two worst enemies out of Smoky Mountain Wrestling. I'm saying, you want me to do it? What is it? I will manage you at Christmas Chaos, and I'll guarantee you that you'll win the Smoky Mountain Wrestling Tag Team title. If you'll sign a contract with me, I'll guarantee you those belts.
At Christmas Chaos against the Gangstas.
Yeah.
Guys, I think you know what is frozen over today. Ricky and Robert, Mr. Cornette is made, I guess.
It's real simple. It's real simple. They're too good, they're too nice, and they're too honest. They're not going to get the job done against the Gangstas and all their posse. But I'm the king of the dirty tricks. I've invented every kind of cheating, lying, conniving tactic that's ever been in professional wrestling, and I know how to beat the Gangstas. If they want the tag team belts, if they want to stay in Smoky Mountain Wrestling, if they don't want to have to go off somewhere to be in the title picture, then you've got to take my deal, brother. You have got to let me manage you at Christmas Chaos, and I'll get the job done.
There's an offer on the table, Ricky.
Yeah, Ben Robert was over here talking about it. You know, one thing that you mentioned, it is right, Jimmy. You are the low-downest, dog, backstabbingest person I've ever met in my whole life. And that is a compliment coming from me to you. But another thing is, Jimmy, another thing you said is right. You are the king. You are the king when it comes to all the cheating that goes on in the ring. And Robert, I know that we're in a situation now, either win or leave. So I'll tell you what we're going to do, Jimmy. You ready for this? We're going to take your offer. We're going to take your offer, Jimmy, to manage us at Christmas Chaos against the Gangstas. But let me tell you one little thing. If you turn on us, if you stab us in the back, if you have somebody come from the back on the Rock and Roll Express, Jimmy, I am going to live, and Robert is too, to see the day that you will be 6 foot under the ground. And that's no joke.
Well, fans.
But until then, it's a deal. You're going to accept the offer, you're going to sign the contract, I'm going to manage you at Christmas Chaos, right?
I am going to accept your offer, Jimmy, this one time at Christmas Chaos, okay? Against the Gangstas. You heard what I said, if you mess around. But until then, Jimmy, like you said, you're going to manage us at Christmas Chaos, all right?
Don't get optimistic. I'm not one to be friendly. I'm just wanting to get a job done.
We'll get it done.
Let's start with the positives of this 7.5 minute segment. Chip Kessler is very sex positive. He's here on the show talking about how he has a very unique threesome. I don't know what it had to do with, the show, but he had a very unique threesome, I guess. And Trae is so
I'm so
flabbergasted
I.
that I said that he couldn't
You know
unmute
what?
himself.
I forgot to hit the mute button, but I was just saying that I bet our man Chip Kessler is a very generous and conscientious lover.
He really seems that way. I'm gonna rip on Chip a lot next year, but I bet he is a good, kind lover.
I bet.
And Chip Kessler, if you're listening to this, I don't know why you wouldn't be. Please feel free to write in and confirm.
Come on the show and talk about it. We don't even have to talk about Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
Wait. Time out. You don't want Chip to come on and talk about Smoky Mountain. You want him to come in and talk about his sex life.
I mean, we can do both.
Chip Kessler, if you want to talk about your sex life and Smoky Mountain Wrestling, come on. If you don't want to talk about one or the other, that's fine too, I guess.
And if you just want to talk about the Rock and Roll Express's sex life, that also sounds very entertaining.
I don't know how much he would know about the Rock and Roll Express's sex life, but sure. So there's more stuff that I liked about this. So, Cornette wants to manage the Rock and Roll Express, and he spends a minute plus basically saying, "I don't like you because of this, that, and the other reason." And Ricky's like, "Yeah, and and it's like, I'm sure you caught this too because we listened to this twice. They noted that when the injunction is lifted on the heavenly bodies.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But it's like he basically says if he manages the Rock and Roll Express, he guarantees they'll win the tag titles of the Rock and Roll Express. And I'm like, okay, well, they've got almost a month. They got 3 weeks, 4 weeks if you count the weekend of TV. So obviously, what's going to happen here is there's basically going to be like, "Fuck you, Jimmy," and let's move on with our lives. And then a few weeks later, they were like, "Okay, yeah, sure, let's do this." No. For no reason at all, Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson, who have a decade-long rivalry with Jim Cornette, the guy who openly talks about running them out of wrestling, he's just like, "Sure, Jimmy, we'll do that."
Okay, I disagree that there was no reason.
I don't think it was a good enough reason.
No, it was the most important reason. We got to get 3 weeks out of fucking hotline questions out of this shit. Just like this one. Can poll vote yes or no? Can the Rock and Roll Express trust Jim Cornette?
I like that you're just jumping straight to that. Yeah.
What's this? It was at the end of this segment.
Yes. We had a graphic on the television screen that said, "Can poll vote yes or no?"
If you would like to see it, I posted it on Twitter and Instagram at Arya and Trae.
And it was with an exclamation mark. So not
yes.
They were not asking if the poll can vote yes or no. They're telling you, can poll vote yes or no? Oh, God. Somebody approved that. Put that on television this week.
They stayed up really late editing the show.
Literally, this was so absurd. The only build to this was the Gangstas said no. The Gangstas did not beat up Jim Cornette. They pushed him, but is that made Jim Cornette go, "Oh my God, I need to turn babyface now"? And he's not even really a babyface. He's still a smarmy asshole here.
Well, he's not turning babyface. He, as a heel, look. These Gangstas, these fellows who aren't from East Tennessee, have become such a problem that goddamn Jim Cornette, rotten son of a bitch that he is gonna help the Rock and Roll Express win the tag titles back. That is the story that works for this audience. I am not dismissing your criticisms of how this might have been built better over longer time. I am saying that it works in the context that we need it to work.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I get you're already agreeing with me, but I'm still going to say what I wrote down to say. I'm sorry. Um, like this week, Cornette could have come out there and said that, I'm frustrated. I don't know what to do, but I may have to make a deal with the devil. Then on the 10th, he goes out and Ricky and Robert laugh at him. And like, why the hell would we let you manage us? You're trying to run us out of the territory. And then on the 17th, you do something. Like, I don't know how you do this. Like, maybe it's a 3-on-2 Gangsters on Rock and Roll Express beatdown, and Jim Cornette comes in and thwacks D'Lo with the racket. New Jack and Mustafa, attack Cornette, and Ricky and Robert, who just saw Cornette take one for them, make the save. And it's like, okay, you gave us one, we'll give you one. And that kind of thing.
Okay,
and I get.
I will concede your point, but if the next 3 weeks, every week, the poll question is about Cornette and the Rock and Roll Express, you have to also concede my point.
I will concede that can poll vote yes or no will be funny for 3 weeks.
No, I just mean like if the poll question is about Cornette and the Rock and Roll Express.
I'm sure
it doesn't have to be misspelled every time. Although I'm not going to tell them not to. Do what's in your heart.
Yep. Now, I can see like, oh, they're going to tell the story for the next 3 weeks. Like, man, can the Rock and Roll Express trust Jim Cornette? Are they being set up? Because, like, to me, it's like if they're being set up, they're fucking morons at this point. Why would you do that? But
they did tell Cornette to his face that they will kill him if he fucks them.
Now, to me, and there is something a lot more egregious in a few months, but to me, this was, if not a jumping the shark moment, this is them stretching to prepare to jump the shark. Like, that, to me, that's what Jim Cornette, out of the blue, wanting to manage the Rock and Roll Express, and them agreeing to it with no real hesitancy. That's what this is.
If you think that's bad, it's not. It's going to get worse.
It's going to get worse. There is a much more jumping the shark moment to me coming up in a few months. But we'll see. Hey, maybe you'll love what happens in a few months. Maybe you'll be like, what the hell's wrong with you, Arya? This is the greatest thing ever.
I don't know. We shall see.
Yeah. Uptown D-Lo Brown versus Steve Armstrong for the Beat the Champ TV title. When I originally wrote my notes, I fucked up and said that Steve was the commissioner until 2 weeks ago, or until 2 days ago, and now he's getting a TV title match. No, well, I was a little bit wrong because Scott was the commissioner. So Steve's brother was commissioner until 2 days ago, and now his father is the commissioner, and he's getting a TV title match against somebody who's never had a match on television.
Oh, what are you accusing the Armstrong family of?
I'm thinking there could be, a little bit of conspiracy here. I think it could be a setup.
You know who's never involved in any of these Armstrong family shenanigans? Joel.
I was going to I laughed when I thought it was Joel Watts. I mean, it is Joel Watts. Then I laughed louder and realized why you said that. Oh, God. So, I have never seen D'Lo Brown do a double-A spine buster before. The Arn Anderson spinning spine buster. But D'Lo broke it out here, and it was not Arn Anderson, but I mean, how many spine busters are Arn Anderson spine busters? But I thought it was really good, and I'm like, man, if he would have kept this in his repertoire, come 98, 99, he could have had one fucking fierce spine buster.
I think him doing that probably just kind of morphed into doing what became the Sky High.
I always forget if it's the Sky High or the Low Down. One's the Frog Splash, one is the Sit Out Power Bomb.
The Sky High is the Power Bomb Spinebuster thing that goes in an upward and then down motion. And then the Low Down is a Frog Splash that goes up and then downward.
So let's see. Steve had the match won with what could generously be described as a flying crossbody. When the Gangstas hit the ring for the disqualification, Scott hit the ring for the save, and they tell us that because it was a DQ, there is no champion. Bull fucking shit. It has been acknowledged in Beat the Champ lore that a DQ is as good as a win. And I get they say that when there's already a champion, but he won the match. It was not a no contest. It was not a double DQ. He won the match.
I think the Beat the Champ rules are stupid and arbitrary and increasingly becoming more so.
And by the way, they did, to go back to what we were talking about last week, they said 5 title defenses. Because you were trying to say that, no, they just mean 5 total matches.
Well, no, I did not say that. I pointed out the problem with it. I pointed out that they were implying that going against the established rules.
Well, they flat out said it's 5 title defenses, so they are fucking up their own rules here.
Don't put me on the side of them fucking up.
Well, okay. I gotta say, sometimes you and I both get really annoyed off weird things. I'm personally wondering, and I'm sure if I didn't have that on mute, I could know why. But for some reason, Will Ospreay was just saved by the Death Riders. Which
I haven't even been watching, and I kind of know that's a thing.
I mean, they're literally, I don't even fucking know. All I know is Renee is talking to Don Callis and Konosuke Takeshita now. But anywho, let's go to a post-match promo where JR is talking to Scott and Steve.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, and what a wild situation there. Good thing you were there.
Well, I'll tell you something right now. Gangstas, you want to get 3-on-2, 2-on-2, it don't make a dang to the Armstrong boys. It don't matter black, white, or in between, brother. We don't see no color when we step through into that squared circle. I'll tell you something. You say you want to fight, we know how to wrestle. Next week right here on TV, how about the Armstrong boys against the Gangstas? How about that, Steve?
Right, can we get that, Jim Ross? Them Gangstas one time, just 2-on-2. Everybody saw they just got me 3-on-1. That's no good, but Mr. Iron Man Scott came in, made the save. If we can get him next week, we sure would appreciate it.
All right, gentlemen, we'll let them know the challenge has been issued. The Gangstas in quite a situation here last week. Let's take you back to last week and show you what they did 7 days ago.
I am Iron Man. Na 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 Iron Man. So here's my issue with young Scott saying they don't see color. If they don't see color, then why are they even bringing that up? Wouldn't they be seeing color, Like, Trae, when I talk to you, I don't say, I don't see color, Trae. Oh, Lord.
I'm sorry. That's just brilliant.
3-on-2 and 2-on-2 don't mean a dang to the Armstrong boys. Yep. So next week they want the Gangstas versus the Armstrongs. I bet they have to really fight to get that match with the commissioner.
I mean, the commissioner probably doesn't want his boys to get mixed up with these kind of ruffians.
Exactly. Now, I know that, it's fruitless, bring this up again. But, motherfucker, they just ignored the whole commissioner thing. Like, it was literally this part of the story that he, Scott was, the commissioner until December 1st. And, it never got brought up again. They didn't even acknowledge it here on this show that, oh, Bob's the commissioner again. It's just look at the calendar and you should just know.
I'm not laughing because I disagree with you. I'm laughing because, like you said, we get very passionate about different things.
Yes. I like my wrestling to make sense. I wanted to close all the loopholes. And people are like, oh, it's just wrestling. Well, when I go and watch movies on the weekends and something fucking stupid happens in one of the movies, I point that out. That does not make sense.
Yeah.
Oh, God. All right. So from here, they showed us what happened last week, but they said it was the Gangstas. The Gangstas were involved because it was the end of the tag team title match. But it's
I
like
noticed.
it really didn't have much to do with the Gangstas.
I noticed that too. This is like the way that they threw to it was like JR was talking about it as this is what the Gangstas were involved with last week, but the Gangstas were like side characters in that specific incident.
I mean, technically, it is what they were involved with last week, but yeah, it's like, but yeah, it was replaying the end where Chris Candido came out, cost Lance Storm and Brian Lee the tag titles in the loser of the Falls partner leaves town match. And then they showed the whole thing with Candido trying to hide under the ring and all that fun stuff. And gotta love Chris Candido. Gotta love the guy. And so after that, let's go back to the desk with JR, who's with Cactus Jack and Primetime Brian Lee.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, there you see what the Gangstas involved in last week. Cactus, this situation with Candido and Boo Bradley, this has gotten completely out of hand.
Two big thoughts in my mind, Jim Ross. First, Christmas chaos. Understand real well. Boo Bradley, understand Candido. Falls count anywhere, which means we will beat you up everywhere. Yes. And Boo, if I've got to go to the top of the bleachers and drop an elbow on your spleen to save your soul, that's what I'll do. Which brings us to the matter of Candido. Candido, I'll beat his butt. That's my credo. I really think I'll make him bleed. Oh, Candido, worse than Rocky made Apollo Credo. And upon these two fists, Jim Ross, he will feed, oh, as if they were two giant Cheetos. And when my mission is complete, oh, I'll see a skid inside his Speedos. Because I'm going to beat Candido. Bang, bang! See you in a few minutes, Jim.
All right, we'll see you later. Boy, that's a pair to draw to right there, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go back to the locker room and hear from their opponents.
Trey, I got some bad news for you.
What's that?
That match does not happen at Christmas Chaos. At least not in that in that form.
I know the person missing is not the one that matters. With all due respect to that person.
Well, with all due love and respect to Primetime Brian Lee, he takes a sabbatical after the next TV taping. I don't
remember who is in the match, but I do remember looking forward and seeing that it was not Brian Lee.
It ends up, spoiler alert, it ends up just being a singles match with Cactus Jack and Chris Candido.
That's right. Okay. Yeah, so this promo is like, you know that Mick was really proud of it because he wrote about it in Have a Nice Day, his first book.
Yep. And he brings it back and does the same promo about Carlito.
Yes.
In the Build
As Mankind. Yes. I was I voted for Cactus Jack because Cactus Jack was always my favorite face of Foley.
If I recall correctly, I voted for Dude Love.
You would.
I would, of course. But by the way, again, you know, this is the joys of watching another wrestling show at the same time. Willow Nightingale is so pretty.
She is. She is very pretty.
Yes. She's wearing a really cute skirt this week.
Oh.
Yes. So yes, we're building up to a tag match that will never happen because because Primetime Brian Lee takes 8 months off before his next Smoky Mountain match. And to be honest, I'd forgotten that he comes back to do Fire on the Mountain 95.
I didn't even know that.
And that's if Cage Match is telling the truth, I guess. They could be lying.
When has Cage Match ever lied?
They have stretched the truth at times.
They've been wrong a lot.
Yes. By the way, all those Thanksgiving Thunder tag matches ended in a double count out.
Oh, terrific.
Yes. All right. So from here, you just heard JR pitch it to backstage with Candido, Boo, and Tammy. So let's go to Les Statues with Candido, Boo, and Tammy.
We're here in the locker room with Tammy Fitch, Chris Candido, and Boo Bradley. And, of course, Christmas Chaos, Chris, falls count anywhere in the building when you and Boo take on Primetime Brian Lee and Cactus Jack. But you've got a pretty big mountain to climb today because you've got to face Cactus Jack in the ring.
Let me tell you something about Cactus Jack. He has been splattered on every concrete floor across the wrestling world, but he's never been splattered by the suicide blonde Chris Candido. And by the time Christmas Chaos rolls around, he'll be nothing but a distant memory, because I'm going to take care of him right here today on TV, and after I'm done, we'll never hear anything more about Cactus Jack from this moron.
And there you have it. Now let's hear more about the Smoky Mountain Hotline.
I'm sorry, Trey. I'm not going to let you hear more about the Smoky Mountain Hotline.
Aw.
But it's fun, it's fast, and it's news.
Can poll vote, yes or no?
We don't know. This was the generic commercial, so we don't know about can poll vote, yes or no.
Oh.
I'm sorry. So he's going to splatter Cactus Jack at Christmas Chaos.
Splat.
And he slapped around Boo. Poor Boo. What did Boo ever do to deserve this treatment? Wasn't he Chris Candido's protector when they were growing up together? You know, why the hell would he abuse him now? Plus, wouldn't Candido know that, hey, this guy used to protect me, so maybe I shouldn't be, openly trying to kick his ass now?
I think that Candido's kind of a bully. I think they mistreat poor Boo. I think they take advantage of the fact that he's differently abled.
I think it's possible that Tammy's just a bad influence on Chris.
I think that Tammy is Tammy Fitch with a capital B.
Tammy Witch with a capital B. By the way, Willow's going to take on Alex Windsor at Double or Nothing in Owen Hart Women's Tournament quarterfinal match.
Oh, the TBS champion against the New Japan Strong Women's champion, I believe.
Yes. And also Will Ospreay is going to wrestle Samoa Joe.
That sounds fucking awesome.
That sounds like it could be quite tremendous.
Yeah. I don't think they've ever wrestled, have they?
I don't believe so. I did get distracted, I'm sorry, because the AEW Love of My Life is on TV right now.
Julia Hart?
Yes. They're doing a 6-woman tag, the Triangle Madness versus the Brawling Birds and Hikaru Shida.
That sounds like a Lulu.
I bet it will be. So speaking of Lulus, let's go to the ring now. Les, in that 30 seconds during that commercial break, made it from the backstage area to the middle of the ring, along with Bryant Anderson, Tracy Smothers, and 2 guys for our submission exhibition. Let's go to Les now for the submission exhibition.
Hey, we're in the ring with a special submission exhibition. With me, Tracy Smothers and Brian Anderson. And Brian, you requested this particular exhibition, so maybe you'd like to explain it.
Thanks a lot. You know, I requested this special exhibition because there's a difference between submission wrestling and what a lot of people do out here. A lot of people are too happy just to get a 3 count. Their opponent can go home. He can make up all kinds of excuses. Bad night. I didn't get enough rest the day before. But submission wrestling, you make another man quit. You make him give up. And that's what the Andersons do best. Tracy, I'm going to get out here. We've got 2 guys volunteered to come out here and have a little workout with us. Either one of them, no problem for me, Tracy. I can make either one quit. I guarantee it. I don't think you can do it at all.
So then you're going to pick one of these guys. You're going to be the first man out of the box, right?
Well, I'll tell you what, Brian. Surprise me. But I'll tell you something. These are both 2 fine wrestlers, Anthony Michaels and James Atkins. But Anthony's a little bit bigger. I'll take him.
Okay. So then you're going to take James?
Hey, I'll take anybody you throw out there with me.
All right, then Brian Anderson will start, and he'll go with James Atkins.
Why would Tracy Smothers lie to us?
What did he lie about?
He just told us these were 2 fine wrestlers. Maybe he didn't pronunciate it correctly. Maybe it's 2 fined wrestlers.
Maybe he meant that they're attractive young men.
Oh, I mean, that's possible. I mean, they are attractive young men. I would go as far to say that. Um, so I have a feeling you're going to be mad at me for what I'm about to say and be mad at me over, you know, semantics here. Now they're doing a submission exhibition because at Christmas Chaos, Tracy Smothers and Bryant Anderson will have an I Quit match. Now, I get that it's more or less the same fucking thing. However, at least in my mind, a submission match is more of a wrestling match where they're going to try to make the other one submit with a submission hold. An I Quit match, while yes, you could make someone quit with a submission hold, it's more of a violent battle where, two people are going to like pull out the plunder, pull out the hammer and nails, and make somebody quit, because you're beating their ass too badly. And I get, I'm probably the only person thinking that, but to me, that's always what the difference is between a submission match and an I Quit match.
It's a semantics thing, and it varies by promotion and time and place, and it's a non-issue as far as I'm concerned.
On that, did you time either of these exhibitions?
No, I didn't. I didn't consider either of them. If there are other people in the ring, you're not having a fucking match. I didn't consider no.
Well, they even said it was an exhibition, but anyway, Bryant made Adkins submit very quickly, and actually, a few of the fans applauded politely. I'm like, that was nice of them. And then Tracy, and this is where I'm going to bury him. He did a shitty ass figure four, and I think that's ultimately why what happened, because he puts on his shitty figure four where he doesn't even have the leg in the right place to make, poor Anthony Michaels say ouch. And Bryant Anderson was so angry about this poor figure four that he ran in and gave Tracy a leg drop. And I'm sorry, he didn't give him a leg drop, he dropped an elbow, excuse me. And he proceeded to beat Tracy's ass and needed to be pulled off by Les, Mark Curtis, and referee Ronnie West. Bryant then feigned sportsmanship, but then dove in and slapped it back on and kept needing to be dragged away, his arm bar. There's no sportsmanship here. This is terrible.
I agree. Terrible, terrible sportsmanship.
Yep. And now, after we had a series of time limit draws, after we had Bryant pin him clean, after we then had a series of no time limit matches, because of that, we are now going to determine who the best submission wrestler is.
Can't wait.
Yes. Let's see. Oh my God. I'm really hoping that Cage Match is wrong about this one. Do you want to know what the result of the Bryant Anderson Tracy Smothers match was, at least the first night of Thanksgiving Thunder?
I looked at these the other day and it didn't matter enough for me to remember.
A time limit draw.
Oh.
I'm really hoping Cage Match is wrong with that one. Second night, Bryant beat Tracy.
It is December 1994. This country has less than a year to live.
This country has less than a year to live?
Well, that may also be true here in May 2026, but I meant company.
That's what I figured he meant. Meanwhile, I was sitting for a second going, what happened in December of 1995 to the country? Yeah, I'm thinking that Cage Match may have the first night wrong because the other nights list Bryant defeating Tracy Smothers in those matches. But all right. So after the submission exhibition, we now go back to JR, who is with the Gangstas, and they have something to say, or at least New Jack does. And I'm going to press mute.
Tracy Smothers, before we go off the air, if not, I'm sure we'll have something on the Smoky Mountain hotline. But gentlemen, at Christmas Chaos, it will be a Smoky Mountain Tag Team Championship matchup. But I got to ask you, regarding the Rock and Roll Express, what do you think about this arrangement with Jim Cornette?
Jim Cornette must be drunk and out of his mind if he think he gonna come to me with a proposition. I don't need Cornette. You know what I'm saying? The Rock and Roll Express, they gonna need more than Jim Cornette to get out of what we gonna put on. You understand?
I understand. I understand also, while you're thinking about this situation, that this is the last opportunity, or at least from what I hear, that you're going to give the Rock and Roll Express. They got to win it or not at Christmas Chaos.
We done beat the Rock and Roll Express up one side of this place and down the other. And this is the last time. You understand? If they don't get it right this time, partner, they can forget about it. This is the last draw. So they better go and come out with every trick that they know. All the years that they've been wrestling, they better combine it that one night and come to us with all they got. Because after this, they can forget about it.
Well, let me ask you one more question here before we go. You don't have a deal with Jim Cornette. This is not some plan, is it, to get the Rock and Roll Express in some kind of disadvantage? Do you and Cornette have a deal under the table?
Look, Cornette ain't got enough money for me. You understand? You know I don't like Jim Cornette, but if the Rock and Roll got in a sense, they might want to watch Jim Cornette because he might double cross him anyway because you know he been trying to get him for years. So like I said, you never know what's going to happen. And Rock and Roll, you better watch your back, partner.
Ladies and gentlemen, when we come back, it will be Cactus Jack and Chris Candido one-on-one. We've got it for you right after this.
I had to laugh because at first I didn't notice D-Lo Brown standing in the background with the Malcolm X flag because between JR and Jack, they were covering up the X. So hey, JR asked the question we're all thinking. You know, are they in collusion with Jim Cornette? You know?
Collusion? Are they in cahoots?
Yeah. You know, this is, The Undertaker and Kane at SummerSlam 98 all over again. Are they in cahoots?
I think that you and I should be in cahoots. I don't have a specific scheme in mind. I just think it'd be fun to be in cahoots.
I think we should be in cahoots, definitely.
All right. Sounds good.
We're conspiring to take over the Wednesday show from me and Cindy. I'm sure you just love that.
We're gonna do when we do the 300th show. We're gonna do like Ted DiBiase and Cody Rhodes did Hardcore Holly at whatever Night of Champions.
We're gonna turn on him or turn on Cindy, and all of a sudden I'm gonna replace the new co-host of the show. Instead of Arya and Cindy, it'll be Arya and Trae. I was wondering, I didn't actually look at it. I mean, I may have the time, but I never really thought about it since. Do you think Cody kept the same title, or did he switch belts when that happened?
Oh, well, did they? They were the ones with the nameplates by that point, right?
Yeah,
probably. Yeah, I would think so. They would. He would have kept that one. It's just convenient. It'd be, you'd think.
I just love that because Vince Jr. had such a problem with the word Junior. The $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, had to come out on TV and introduce the world to his son, Ted DiBiase.
Fucking Vince Jr. Everybody should call him Junior at every opportunity for that reason.
I mean, Roddy Piper used to call him Junior.
Yeah.
And, if Roddy Piper can get away with something, that's something we should then try to do.
Does that mean I should try just shoveling a spittoon full of cocaine up my nose?
If you like,
Just remember, if you know what I'm referencing, right?
No, I don't.
From Flair's book, and he was talking about they went to Puerto Rico or somewhere in the Caribbean. And he said, and I remember specifically, whoever it was, they paid Piper with a spittoon full of cocaine.
That was probably the, the Jack was it Jack Venero? Was that his name?
I can't remember if it's Veneno or Venimo.
Yeah.
Two.
That guy, the one who kind of won the NWA title, but also kind of didn't.
It was one of those things in the Caribbean.
Yes. And poor Rice Flair never got his belt back. But By the way, I suddenly felt better about missing the first hour of Dynamite since this is one of those 3-hour episodes. That's like 2 hours of Dynamite, 1 hour of Collision.
Ah.
Yeah. So yeah, because I'm sorry, like I can't sit and watch a 3-hour TV show. It's too fucking much wrestling. Not really too much wrestling, I guess, but just like it's too fucking much. Just like 2 hours is fine.
2 hours is pretty good.
Yeah. All right. So, by the way, Roosh is unbeaten in 10 of his last 11 singles matches. This seems like a very clunky thing to say.
They do that kind of stat constantly. I liked it better when they just had everybody's fucking win and loss record. Now it's like somebody comes out and this is their singles record on Collision this year. Who the fuck cares?
I don't even think they do that anymore. Maybe they do it on Collision, but on Dynamite they don't even do that anymore. Yeah. To be honest, like I think it ran its course, putting everyone's record on the screen because it's like, how many times was it like, people would have great records, but like they're not getting anything out of it. Or like when Dark was a thing, you wouldn't see somebody for like 6 months and they come out and be like, oh, this person's on a 25 match winning streak. I'm like, this person hasn't been on TV in 6 fucking months. How are they on a 25 match winning streak?
Because they had fucking wins. Never mind. Whatever.
Yes, but again, not everyone was watching 3 hours of Dark and an hour of Elevation and everything else,
Matches don't need you to be watching them to count.
But if something's important, like who was it? Somebody did that where they won 25 matches in a row. Maybe it was Julia Hart, where they won 25 matches in a row, but were never on Dynamite, and they just come out one week and it was, they've won 25 matches in a row. It's like, what? When the hell did that happen? But the thing is, it's like, I don't know. It's like, if something's important, you need to
watch fucking Raw where nothing counts except for what happens on Raw.
I don't want to fucking watch Raw, and what happens on Raw doesn't even matter. What happens on Raw?
Well, then shut the fuck up and let's talk about Chris Candido and Cactus Jack, because this sucks.
This sucks, meaning Chris Candido and Cactus Jack?
No, this conversation.
People should keep listening at this point. So main event time. It is the WWA World Heavyweight Champion, the U.S. Junior Heavyweight Champion, and the NWA World Heavyweight Champion, Suicide Blonde Chris Candido, with Tammy Fitch, who is the young lady who filed a sexual discrimination lawsuit against Smoky Mountain Wrestling, versus Cactus Jack, who lost the third this year. Oh God. JR declared that Cactus Jack is not fancy. I don't know. I think that's kind of mean of him to say about Cactus Jack. He's not fancy. I mean, he's no Ryan Clancy. Don't get me wrong.
I mean, is being fancy a good thing?
I don't know.
Is it a good thing in JR's eyes?
I mean, I bet Mick Foley has fancy tendencies.
You think he's ever rocked out to the Iggy Azalea song "Fancy"?
It's Mick Foley. I can almost guarantee he has done that.
You think he did the "Do Love" dance to it?
It's Mick Foley. I can almost guarantee, because I don't know. Something tells me Mick Foley does not have a second dance move. I'm sorry, Mick, if you're listening to this, and again, don't know why you wouldn't be, but So this was a damn good TV match. We used to say that like there would be a quarterly 3-star match. It's been a while since we've had a quarterly 3-star match.
It's been a while. Thank you, Mick Foley, for coming and saving the territory for a month. You think that's why the territory didn't last, because they couldn't keep Mick?
Oh, I don't consider that. They lost him to ECW and to not War. What was he in FM? It was an FMW.
IWA
Japan. Yes. There's too many Japanese companies. Anyway, yeah, it's been so long since we've had a quarterly 3-star match. I feel like they skipped a quarter or two. Now Candido broke a fan's crutch on Jack, but then was nice enough to give it back to the fan. So I thought that was nice of Chris Candido. Cactus used, and I quote, a rat-a-tat-tat elbow but Candido broke out his inner Bryant Anderson and worked over the shoulder. I bet Cactus Jack and Bryant Anderson would have been a damn good match.
Absolutely. By the way, I due to some chronic back pain, I often walk with a cane, especially if I'm going to be somewhere that I'm going to be walking or standing up a lot, like a wrestling show.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime that my cane has been used in a match, it was because I offered it.
Nice. Now, has it been used frequently in a match?
Twice. Lance Archer hit somebody with it at the first Wrestle Circus show. And then there was it's actually, I can find the clip and retweet it because it's in my bookmarks. There is a whole sequence, that Orange Cassidy and Jervis Cottonbelly, or no, maybe it was Colin Delaney. It was like some combination of those guys did with my cane at a Wrestle Circus show.
Interesting. I was telling one of my friends who wrestles up here about about my brass cane with a skull on the front that he could use. I could bring him in to be his foreign object, and he's a farmer gimmick, so like he could put my cane in like his in his trousers there.
One time I was in a suit and I told MVP that I could be his heater, but he told me that he didn't need a heater.
No, when you're MVP, you don't need a heater.
That's true.
Cactus gave Candido a suplex on the floor, and JR screamed, "What do you think of Smoky Mountain Wrestling now?" I bet Candido doesn't like it. Boo came out but collided with Candido on the apron, and Cactus won with a double-arm DDT. After the match, Tammy sprayed the hairspray in Cactus's eyes that I was half convinced Cactus had forgotten to sell for a second. And we get the heel beatdown. Tammy screamed at Boo to go to the top rope or she would choke Boots. And this is one of those good news, bad news situations because Boo did in fact go to the top rope. Boo did in fact come off of the top rope. But that's because Primetime Brian Lee made the save and flipped him off the top.
It's Tammy. I don't like her threatening Boots as I sit here with the magnificent Astro Peach petting him and telling him what a fine boy he is. That's how you treat kiddies, Tammy. You don't threaten them so their friends will beat up Mick Foley. I would never I don't know, Arya, you wouldn't threaten Astro Peach to get me to beat up Mick Foley, would you?
No, for a lot of reasons. You know? Not the least of which is I'm sorry, Trae, I love you, but I think Mick Foley could still take you. You know?
I am not a tough guy and I'm not an athletic guy, but Mick got a concussion doing cardio a couple of years ago.
Oh, who was it? Was it oh my God, was it Batista who tore his triceps while jogging?
Something like that. Yeah. But yeah, you remember like Mick said like a couple of years ago, he wanted to do one more death match for his 60th birthday. And then a couple of months later, he said, "Yeah, I got a concussion doing cardio, so that's not happening."
I didn't remember him saying a death match. I just remember him saying a match.
He said a death match.
I'll believe you, but I didn't remember the death part of that. So anyway, 149 down, 51 to go. Maybe I'm being generous, but this wasn't just 3 stars. I gave it 3.5 stars.
I gave it 3, but yeah, it was very good. I liked this a lot.
So who'd have thunk Chris Candido and Cactus Jack would have a good wrestling match?
Right. Those two guys are good at pro wrestling.
Yes, write that down. So what else happened in the world of wrestling, Trey? I know you've been eagerly waiting for this week's version of this. Randy Savage debuted in WCW this week. He declared that he was going to Starrcade and wants to have a meeting with WCW champion Hulk Hogan. And he said that at Starrcade, he was either going to shake Hulk Hogan's hand or he was going to slap him in the face. And this, honestly, like, whatever business Starrcade did, and believe me, it was not much, this probably is whatever drew it. Because, again, Hulk Hogan versus The Butcher is your Starrcade main event. And, like, Sting versus Avalanche. And I say this loving both men. Sting versus Avalanche is not a match that is selling pay-per-views.
I know there were some bad Starrcades, but is that the worst one?
The best match on the show, and this is one of those where it's like, well, why are you being mean to these guys? The best match on the show is the Nasty Boys versus Harlem Heat in a random tag team match. And this is before Harlem Heat was Harlem Heat. Like, they were Booker T and Stevie Ray, but like, it wasn't like, they're, a great, all-time great tag team. This is like guys getting their first push, Harlem Heat. And
I will say that, like, coming up, as a young, quote unquote, smart fan, I sort of had the idea that the Nasty Boys sucked. But going back and watching, like, 93, 94 Nasty Boys, the Nasty Boys were, like, really fun brawlers.
Nasty Boys are underrated, may be a strong word, but like, they do not get the appreciation they deserve. Like, some of it, like, they did a fucking 25-minute match with Roma and Anderson on Fall Brawl 93, which was just one hell of a show. And they did 27, 28 minutes at Starrcade with Sting and Hawk. And it's like, that's one of those, like,
There is a 6-man tag on an early Raw that I think is like the Nasty Boys and maybe like Tito Santana against Shawn Michaels and the Beverly Brothers. That was fucking awesome.
It was Tatanka, because Tatanka pinned Shawn to set up WrestleMania.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that match was awesome.
Yeah. And it's like, I just watched Halloween Havoc 94, and I know I'm going to say this, and I know who everyone's going to say, well, this was this person. The Nasty Boys versus Bunkhouse Buck and Terry Funk. And I know Terry Funk is amazing. Terry Funk deserves all the love in the world.
I mean, Jimmy Golden ain't the drizzling shits either or anything.
Yeah. The Nasty Boys more than held their own in that match.
That sounds fun. That does sound really fun.
It was. It was definitely better than the Honky Tonk Man versus Johnny B. Bad in a 10-minute draw. Kevin Sullivan versus Dave Sullivan. And what was the third match? That was just like, who fucking booked this shit? But yeah. So while I'm trying to remember that, over in The Observer, Dave did a lengthy preview of 1995 and went through all the major promotions and some of the minor promotions, one of which being our favorite promotion, Smoky Mountain Wrestling. And Dave's preview of 1995 was, Smoky Mountain has been shaky on a nightly basis, but has one strong suit, an ability to build to and strongly promote major events. No shows and failing to follow through on advertised steps and key events in front of big crowds plagued them towards the latter part of 1994. They've had problems getting over new acts and thus have relied on wrestlers past their prime, which has worked well on recent big shows, but it's not the kind of stuff you can build a nightly territory around.
Ding, ding.
What do you think he said about, Corny said in response to that, I wonder?
That gif of the basketball player Alonzo Mourning, that's like the reaction gif where he kind of looks mad and then he just kind of starts shaking his head in acceptance. I imagine that was what Jim Cornette did in response to reading that.
Oh God. By the way, the other great match at Halloween Havoc 94 was Jim Duggan versus Steve Austin in what is Steve Austin's last WCW pay-per-view match.
Okay, completely at random, but this jumped into my head for unrelated reasons. Didn't Randy Savage and Steve Austin have one singles match on like a Saturday night?
Yes, I believe it was in the United States title tournament when they stripped Vader of the belt.
Okay, so yeah, this is October 94, and Austin's still there for several more months.
Yeah, he doesn't get fired until September of '95.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I think things worked out for Mr. Steve Austin.
Yes, it did. But to me, he's part of there's a couple big what ifs when it comes to Steve Austin. First, what if when Bischoff called for him to come in to do promos, he just did fucking promos and didn't quit? Would he be satisfied knowing that the next year is when Benoit, Guerrero, Malenko, Mysterio, all those great wrestlers come in? Would Steve Austin have been satisfied making good money to work good matches with good wrestlers?
I think he would have loved that. I think he would have been very happy.
Yeah.
But if you told him the choice is that or being the biggest star in the history of the business, I think he'd pick being the biggest star in the history of the business.
I think he'd go with that one too, but that wasn't exactly like I imagine that wasn't the contract.
Right.
Come in, we'll get the biggest star in wrestling, brother.
He said that after he got fired by WCW, he kind of figured that he was going to be bound for like New Japan or All Japan. He just wanted to wrestle for a living, and lucky for everybody involved that it worked out well.
And also, what if when he broke his neck at SummerSlam, they didn't let him come back? Like nowadays, in 2026, say what you want, they would not have let him come back. And if they did, it would not have been 3 months later.
Do you think it's comparable to like a Big E injury?
I think it could be. I mean, I don't know like how bad each of them were, but it was pretty fucking bad. And I would tell you right now, if Steve Austin couldn't come back, the Montreal Screwjob never happens.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
because Vince wouldn't get rid of Brett because him and Sean are pains in his fucking ass, but it's like that's now one fewer star even then. And that's like, he would never let him go to WCW, and that would have been that.
Is that the timeline where the main event of WrestleMania 14 is Brett versus Sean in a ladder match?
Oh, that was the I'm trying to get you to quit timeline. But
I mean, that would have still been, I don't know, what fucking else could you have done at that point?
Brett and Shamrock, maybe?
That's the only other thing I can think of.
Yeah. By the way, Don Callis had the Dynamite Diamond ring, and Takeshita refused to use it.
Do you think that, what was I about to say?
I don't know. Was it about Takeshita and Don?
No, because I want to talk about that too. It was something about Sean and Brett and that whole thing. Oh, and Shamrock. Okay. Does Shamrock become a bigger star if Brett stays?
I think yes, because Brett would have protected him better, and he wouldn't have. I think Shamrock still would have done some dumbass shit because Brett wouldn't have ran out there to stop Shamrock from daring The Rock to hit him as hard as he can in the face with a chair.
On the Takeshita thing, again, I am behind on AEW, but I kind of wondered where they were at with this because I do know that in New Japan, Takeshita just joined Hantai, which is like the main army, which is, not really conducive to the Don Callis family's goal and missions.
Yeah. Here's another thing. If Steve Austin's injured and the Montreal Screwjob doesn't happen, Shawn Michaels doesn't have a career-ending back injury.
Yeah, butterfly effect. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like insane. But yeah, it's a butterfly effect thing,
Because it was specifically that backdrop on the casket at the Royal Rumble. It fucked his back up.
Yeah. And Shawn wouldn't have been the champion, so he wouldn't have had that match. But you also wonder how much longer they all could have worked together too still, because, they had already had the fight, in the locker room, and they weren't besties at the time. And Sean's drug problem, I don't want to say his career-ending back injury helped his drug problem, but because he now had a career-ending back injury, he watched Nitro one night, saw Whisper, called Kevin Nash, and like, hey, get me that girl's phone number, and Whisper eventually was able to get him to kick the habit.
That's some fascinating alternate history you could write here, Arya.
Yep. I forget where I one day I was like really messing with myself and somehow linked Jim Crockett buying the territory from or taking over the territory from his dad. He didn't buy it from his dad. I forget what I linked it to. I somehow linked it to Tony Khan being on TNT or something. I have to go back and look, but it was an insane like if this didn't happen, then this wouldn't have happened, and blah 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 blah.
It's we're got some great potential domino effect memes here.
Yep. By the way, one last bit of news from this week in wrestling history, and by this week I mean this week, December of 1994 in wrestling history. Some sad news to report that's going to get sadder. Big John Studd is in the hospital since getting a bone marrow transplant on October 31st. Studd had been suffering from Hodgkin's disease for several months, which at one point went into remission but then came back. And bone marrow transplants are an exceedingly serious step.
It's very sad.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, Big John Studd is not with us for much longer. A little bit of modern day news. Apparently, Dark Side of the Ring, we talked about how they're doing a 3-part episode on TNA. They did reach out to Dixie several times, and apparently Dixie said no.
Yes. What about is Bob still with us? Can we get Bob on Dark Side of the Ring?
I don't know what else he'd be doing.
What about Janice? Is Janice available?
What do you think, Janice thought about them being so pissy at her that they named a nail-filled board after her?
I think that was pretty fucking beast, personally.
Oh, God. So we mentioned last week, and I don't remember if we said this on the thing or we did it afterwards, but we mentioned Brian Keith and Large William. Apparently, Large William is, it may be on his way out. May be on his way out. His contract is coming up in a month, and it may be up for him.
Well, he has been a delight, and I hope that whatever he chooses to do next, it goes well for him.
Yeah. Let's see.
It's like he's good, and he's done very well at everything that they have given him. If you had seen his early career, you would think that he has overachieved. But on the other hand, how many fucking people does AEW need on a contract?
More or less. And I mean, that's the thing, too. And it's the same thing with AEW. Yes. I'm sorry, not AEW. WWE just firing 30 people. It sucks that they just fired 30 people. But still, like there's only so many fucking people that one needs on the roster. And yeah, I can't find my
but
here we go.
Like, look, people who want it, who come out of that system, are finding second lives in TNA and MLW and Japan and Mexico. Like, some of those people, and I don't remember who all it was. I'm sure it's some of the people who were just like recruited from something who were never going to do anything with wrestling again. But it's like there's stuff to do out there if you want to do it, and fucking if you want an opportunity somewhere big, go out there and prove that you deserve it.
So, Jim Crockett Jr. taking over Jim Crockett Promotions led to AEW.
Yeah, definitely.
So Jim Crockett took over JCP. He hired Dusty Rhodes to be his booker, who did a tremendous job until 1987, and that's when JCP fell off a cliff and nearly went bankrupt a year later, which led to Turner buying JCP and making it WCW. After 11 years of ups and downs, they hired Vince Russo as head writer. Jeff Jarrett then left the WWF and followed along, holding up VKM for all the money he was owed on his last night. When VKM bought WCW, he didn't rehire Jeff Jarrett out of spite, so Jeff started TNA and signed AJ Styles. AJ eventually left TNA when they tried cutting his pay and joined New Japan. After approximately 2 years of being the top New Japan gaijin, AJ left for WWE. Since Gato and Jado needed a new top gaijin, Kenny Omega then took over the Bullet Club. After Okada beat Naito and Tanahashi, and New Japan needing a new top guy, booked Omega to win G1. Omega then had his first famous match against Okada. Don Callis got back into wrestling around the same time and started his podcast with Lance Storm. When Steve Corino left New Japan, Omega got his longtime friend Callis a job as the English commentator. Callis then had the idea for Omega versus Jericho, which he sold to Omega, Jericho, and New Japan management, which is the match that led to Tony Khan saying, "Hey, I should start a wrestling company." So what I'm saying is if Jim Crockett and his family had let someone else take over the company, AEW may never have happened.
You should do like, I don't know, YouTube or fucking TikTok or something when like do little videos of this.
You think we should go on YouTube? You think that might work?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Your voice is less annoying to me than mine.
Which is funny because I think your voice is less annoying than mine.
Maybe that's just how everybody feels about their like. Does my voice sound? Because I really want to get into doing some content stuff like with other stuff.
Yep.
But I hate my voice. So it's like, is that legitimate or is that just me being a person?
I think we all hate our voice. Like when I go back and listen to this show, a little bit of this show from here and then, I don't think I sound like how I sound in my own ears. When I'm talking right now, the voice that I hear on the podcast is a completely different voice. Like I sound nasally and a little drawing, when I'm talking, on the podcast. But in my head, I'm neither nasally nor slowly drawing shit out.
Yeah.
Oh well. So anyway, that's it for this week's show. Our countdown is on to episode number 300 of something else. The 300th episode, 3 hours of TNA Spectacular, which I keep saying that, and I should point out that show will not last 3 hours long. We're talking about 3 hours of TNA.
Okay, are y'all going to continue after the weekly pay-per-views in?
That is the current plan.
How far are you going?
Until we get sick of it, probably.
Okay.
Because at least right now the plan is, while the weekly pay-per-views are still a thing, we're going to do Impact on Fridays, and then when the weekly pay-per-views end, the Impact show will move to Wednesdays. And it'll just be probably until we get sick of it.
If this goes well, maybe we'll think about I'll show up for the occasional 3-hour pay-per-view.
Cindy has already volunteered to join us for an episode of Smoky Mountain. So,
what are we gonna do? We've got a while before we get to the Super Bowl of wrestling.
Episode 200 we'll bring her on for.
Okay.
Maybe that episode that I've warned you about that you're gonna fucking hate me when we get to that episode.
There you go. Maybe that's the one.
Because it's not okay. I'm going to spoil it for you right now. They're cutting back on expenses. You can tell this is the time when Rick Rubin has pulled his money out, and they needed an extra week of TV until the next TV taping, and so they just re-air a bunch of stuff from Super Bowl of Wrestling after spending a month airing everything from the Super Bowl of Wrestling. So it's like you're totally going to be super pissed at me come September, September of 1995 when we get to that episode.
Well, it'll be almost over then.
Yes, it will. When we get to episode 189 down, 11 to go, or whatever that ends up being. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this week's show. 51 episodes of Smoky Mountain left. We're less than a year to go. Hashtag sad face. But thank you all for listening. Hope you all enjoyed the show, and we'll talk to you again in 7 days.
Bye.